Through informal and formal spaces, we are proposing an intervention that incorporates living, gathering, and reuse to empower and foster the existing community. This increased community interaction is created by providing housing, open green space, workshops, education, office facilities, and jobs through the reuse and preservation of local materials. Through the flexibility of these more formal spaces, informal community interactions will occur, inspiring the exchange of ideas and creating a voice to the existing residents.
In talking to the community, there is a breakdown between the existing services and the people who use them. There's a desire for non-transactional spaces where people can just be, and there's a fear of gentrification because of rising rent costs and development. And if change is to come, residents would like it to provide more jobs.
In defining a community, the city, social, and local groups have different definitions of what determines a community. The definition of community at the city scale is a group of people who live in the same area, borough, town, or neighborhood. There is a juxtaposition of what boundaries are and how they organize communities. The definition of community at the social scale is the people living in one particular area or people who are considered as a unit because of their common interests, social group, or nationality. Within the local definition of community, East Flatbush residents define community by the places they go. A local business owner says, community has to have mutual respect, safety to be open to each other. This narrows the idea that community can be less of a boundary and more of a network. At the Brooklyn scale, services that encourage community interaction can exist in the form of organizations that work with the community through cultural engagement, education, jobs, and community growth. At the East Flatbush neighborhood scale, of the services that do exist, they are more concentrated in the commercial core between Flatbush Avenue and Nostrand Avenue. In this commercial core, people are gathering around the existing services, but not necessarily within or connected to them.
This creates a new typology, seen through the active gathering of the community, which is formal and informal space. Formal spaces are created, managed, and funded by the city or non-governmental organizations by which they determine what communities need. Whereas, informal spaces are adapted from their intended and designed use to accommodate momentary functions, and these are normally brought on by individuals of the community.
Through analyzing the African Burial Ground, Lips Cafe, and the King's Theater, which are prominent spaces in the area, they each include elements of informal interventions working alongside the more formal functions of each space, which is done through varying degrees of cooperation between community actors and the private business owners.
With its history as a cornerstone within the community, the Flatbush Sears can be an intersection for informal and formal programs. Sears sits between Flatbush Ave and Nostrand Ave, two major commercial corridors. The site is served by the M44 and M49 bus lines, as well as the Q2 and 5 subway lines within walking distance. Adjacent to the Sears building is the Sears Auto Body Shop, one of the largest grocery stores in the area, and the historic King's Theater. The Sears site can connect the residential areas south and east of the site with Flatbush Ave. This open space can provide new parkland and new program for living, gathering, and reuse.
Overall, our proposal values connection and the sharing of space to encourage informal and flexible interaction between the community.